Singing in the Rain was sort of central because the first time I think I sort of encountered any story about the transition from silent cinema to sound cinema was through Singing in the Rain. And I think I sort of thought or assumed that that was kind of the full story. But then I started, I was interested in it. I started doing a little bit of more reading and digging on my own, and I found that there was actually a whole other dimension to that transition. It was, on the one hand, it was very rapid, but on the other hand, it was incredibly cataclysmic. Many people, lives, it's not an exaggeration to say lives were lost. There were suicides, there were sort of lives destroyed, there was this kind of wrecking ball through society aspect to it, and that really fascinated me. The idea of kind of a society changing that dramatically and that rapidly, and being able to sort of examine that from the ground up became, sort of the whole goal for the movie, I'd say. I wanted to kind of take my own wrecking ball to the conventions of old Hollywood and what we think of as old Hollywood. Old Hollywood is kind of often perceived as, always glamorous and elegant and very clean, sanitized. In many ways, that's just an illusion. That's something that Hollywood itself created to cover up the reality. The reality, especially in those early days of the 20s, was, that a lot of drugs were legal and rampant. There was debauchery at a level that you sort of would be shocking even today. There was a kind of recklessness in how movies were made and how people lived their lives and how people partied. So I wanted to try to capture all of that, the whole messy insanity of that. And it sort of meant that the movie, tone-wise, had to be kind of insane on its own, in its own way. It was a mix of, it was some films that sort of, just kind of were personal favorites, but I think what I really tried to sort of do in that final montage was really focus on films that spoke to this idea of change and of disruption and of the sort of what I'd call the life cycle of cinema, that it sort of grows, a certain kind of cinema dies, and then it's reborn. This death, rebirth cycle that I think has gone on since the beginning of cinema and will continue to go on for the rest of time, I believe. That was what that whole montage was about, so I tried to kind of pick films or film clips that spoke to that, at least on some level for me. It was crazy. It was, we tried to make it feel like a party when we were shooting, So on the one hand, you got to do a lot of planning and choreography. We had 300 extras packed into this location. We had live music going. We had, dance choreography, sex choreography, stunts. And the idea was to have it all happening at once, so that every frame would have multiple things going on in it. Foreground, background, that it would always feel alive and dense, like a sort of packed, like a Bruegel painting or a fresco or something. So a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, but then hopefully when you're shooting, you do enough takes that people kind of it just sinks into people, and eventually by take 20, 30, 40, they're having a good time. It does actually become a party. That was the hope. It was great. I'd known Toby for a while, and I think what really excited me about him in this role was just that I knew audiences were not going to be expecting him in this context. We're so used to thinking of Toby a certain way, and but he's such a versatile actor, and so being able to really push him into this kind of much darker, creepier, weirder, crazier territory than we've ever seen. I knew he had it in him, and I just knew it would throw audiences for a loop, so it was exciting.
I think what we have here in Hollywood is high art. It's
party time, sparkle time!
If you could go anywhere in the whole world, where would you go?
I always want to be part of something bigger.
Yes!
Let's go! Something that lasts, that means something.
When I first moved to LA,
I got your face tattooed on my back.
you know what signs on all the doors read? No actors or dogs allowed. I changed that.
Morning!
Good job for you.
I'll do anything.
That's the jackass they sent to screw us.
This bitch is stealing the scene right from under me. She's icing her nipples so they perk up through her dress.
I ain't icing my nipples. This is natural. Where do you say we come in for my close-up now?
What are your thoughts for the future?
Shouldn't stand in the way of progress.
This is gonna be what it's gonna be. Here's the twist.
Whoa!
girl seems nice.
She is. She has no idea what's next.
There's a new sensibility now. People care about morals.
I've never done nothing except disappoint people my whole life. But I made it on my terms, not theirs.
We are gonna be more than they ever bargained for.
What I do means something.
It's bigger than you.
And I'm going to bed.